This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by the new-ish WBO cruiserweight champion of the world, Lawrence Okolie. Sound good, Lawrence, be introduced by that?
Yeah, it's still bizarre when I hear it, because people don't wake up and say, that's still done. So it's nice to hear, do you know what I mean? Thanks.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Congratulations again. Obviously, it seems like a while ago already now. This year's already getting away from us. But a matter of weeks from your win over Krzysztof Gravatsky. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, I think now it's a little bit more, okay, we've done it now and we're looking towards the next fight. So it's good getting, my eye on someone or people and, that's it really.
Before we come on to talking about that, last time I spoke to you was in the dressing room afterwards. I think it's fair to say that it hadn't quite sunk in yet. You hadn't watched the fight back. I'm assuming you've done that now. What did you make of your performance that night in winning the world title?
Oh yeah, I think it was a good performance. I kept the distance. Boxed well. Was doing a few things that we worked on in the gym to sort of make my opponent a little less eager to throw punches, and they worked better than I thought because I'd never tried it before. But I'm just interested to see my next one. What can I do? It's a different style, different opponent, different kind of hunger from the next guy. So we'll see.
Talking about what's coming on next, I spoke to Shane briefly a short while ago. He said that you're going to have a mandatory. What can you tell us about your opponent?
I'm still hoping that it's not the mandatory and they can somehow get me a unification match. I think we're having a meeting this week or early next week to see what's what. But obviously there is a mandatory there because I won a vacant title. So from what I've seen of him, he's good. He's good. He's just not. Obviously, I'll be motivated for the fight. Don't get me wrong, but I would like a unification. But if I have to box the guy's good. He's solid, undefeated guy from like Montenegro or something like that. Good left hook. Good mover, do you know what I mean? Strong, confident guy. Because obviously I've watched him already. It's just solid. But I'll do what I have to do.
Going back to the win over Gravatsky, obviously throughout your career you've got on with things at a fast pace. We've discussed that previously. Haven't always been in the most entertaining or most eye-catching fights. How nice was it to not only win the world title, but to do so in a way that we were attracting a lot of plaudits from people who were watching. We were really impressed with the change in style.
For me, it was good. It's more so. I don't want to be a gym fighter, Of course, I've won all my fights and I haven't looked close to losing. But when people come and watch me in the gym, they're like, wow, he's so this and so. All the stuff that you saw on that fight is what people see every day in the gym. But I wanted to be able to translate it, and I'm happy I managed to do it. We've done it three or so times in a row now. I just want to keep that going. So, every time I'm fighting, I know what to expect of myself, and then eventually the fans will know what to expect. So I feel like I've got a lot of good attributes: height, range, power, movement, and I'm a good thinker. So I should be able to box well. So it's good when I'm able to.
Across that period of time when you've been a professional, as I mentioned, you've had some ups and downs throughout that time. Can you pinpoint a kind of a turning point? Was it coming to train with Shane? Was it something else? Can you think of anything like that?
I've always been quite focused on the goal. I think that coming to train with Shane has obviously helped with refining my techniques, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to do in the ring that it needs to be explained sometimes why maybe the way that I naturally choose to do it is good, but I could do what I naturally do with a little bit of a twist. Do you know what I mean? I think one of the main things is that I used to believe that when we're on the inside and there's holding and stuff, I'm winning the exchange because the other guys get more tired or whatever. But what Shane and that explains is that they're getting more of a rest because it's more dangerous. Like I can knock someone out at any time from distance or from when I'm punching. But when you're holding, you can't knock someone out. So just stay punching basically. So that's one of the main ones. But then it opens up a whole nother door. Like when do you feint? Where do you step? Where do you this? Where do you that? So it's just exciting. I'm still learning all the time. I still feel like a novice personally, as much as I'm a world champion. It's weird. I'm not one that uses my lack of experience as an excuse for anything, but I just kind of think there's so much more that I'm learning. Every time I come to the gym, it's I can't even do this. I can't throw a left hook properly or whatever. So the more that I'm adding, the better that I eventually will come.
It's a good, healthy mindset to have, just because of the fact that you just become world champion. By all accounts, you should never stop learning, whether you're a fighter or indeed any other profession. How important is it to keep grounded when you've still got an awful lot left that you want to achieve?
Oh yeah, I think it's good. Like I don't really see myself as grounded or as thing. I just live like, do you know what I mean? So however I come across is how I come across. But for me, I just feel that I genuinely do feel that there's a lot for me to learn. Like, you know, it's not like I come in here and I beat everyone up in sparring and Shane, and I know exactly what to do like I don't. I saw a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of styles, there's a lot of different guys that I'm eventually going to have to box. So, or get to box is a better way. So we'll see.
We did the podcast a few weeks before you boxed. I mean, you told me that you were looking forward to taking that belt back and showing your mum and being an inspiration for somebody to look towards in your community. What was that like, getting the job done and then going back home?
Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, my mum's still now happy, etc. It's like she's won the world title. That's how she's walking around like a world champion now. So for me, that's everything. I just in the community, I just seen like I get so many messages and like even when I bump into people, it's just like the energy that is brought to the area is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like people use me in schools now as an example. I don't know what it is about a world title that suddenly changes. It's like I was a fighter before, but world champion now all of a sudden you want to stay off the roads or whatever. So it's amazing. Sorry.
And having that as well, I mean, we've seen you doing Good Morning Britain. You've had your book out. You've obviously done your music as well. Seems like it's never ending, the things that you've got yourself into.
Yeah, it's all fun. Like I said, I just live my life just enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't take anything too seriously or put myself under any unnecessary pressure. It's like boxing's hard enough, boxing in front of fans, dealing with the ups and downs, people saying I can do it because I can't do it. It's all is what it is. So I'm just going to enjoy myself because we're only, in the limelight for a short period of time. There's when I started boxing, there was a whole different roster of champions and they were having fights against other champions, and since I've been pro there's been world champions from Britain who've retired, and before long I'll be another one that's come and gone, and there'll be the ones that are on their way up now. So for me, I'm just going to enjoy it while I'm here, and when I'm gone I'll be able to say I did everything I wanted to do, so I won't say I regret it.
I was in the Matchroom bubble when we watched the documentary about all of the British cruiserweight champions, Johnny Nelson, Tony Bellew, Carl Thompson, whole list of other names. What does it mean to you to be able to join that group of people? Or have you not allowed yourself to focus on it yet while you're active?
Yeah, I don't really focus on it because ultimately my aim is to be the best one that's come out of Britain. So I'm still obviously fixated on my own career. I think when I've retired, that's when I'll be able to say, hey guys, welcome to the club, whatever. But right now, I've just won a world title. It's not really, I haven't really done anything. Do you know what I mean? Like those guys defended, unified, blah blah blah. If I retired now, okay, I retire as a world champion, but I haven't really done anything. So I don't really focus on them or anyone. I'm just really focusing on creating a proper legacy. So you don't have to ask that question. You know what I mean?
Okay. Anthony Joshua, you're his first world champion from 258 management. What's the big man had to say?
Yeah, just congratulations. Keep going. We had a chat this morning, just about hunger. Obviously, it's interesting because he's an active fighter in big fights and stuff. So we just bounce off of each other, and that's it. Like it's like I said, it's. I don't want to say crazy because it's not like I didn't expect it, but the actual reality is very different from saying I want to be world champion to become a world champion. And it's like he's someone that from early, like I said, oh your hands are hurting. Sorry, he's someone that. From early, like I said, I didn't want to be a gym fighter him and his coaches and other people that I spar immediately, you're going to go all the way. But it's one thing to say that in the gym, it's another thing to make it happen. So it's a blessing that I've made it happen, that we're both world champions at the same time. And, I'm hoping to, unify, and then it'll be sick to have like a heavyweight undisputed and a cruiserweight undisputed on the same roster.
You mentioned being world champion, slightly different to what you'd envisioned beforehand. Just expand on that.
What do you mean?
That's what you said.
What did I say?
You said that being world champion, slightly different in reality than what you potentially expected beforehand.
So now what I meant is like saying that you're going to be world champion is very different from actually becoming it. Is different. So obviously I'm blessed, but even the reality of it is very different. It's like I thought I'd get superpowers. I didn't. I'm still. They say like it still hurts doing circuits and whatever else. So. Yeah, I mean, it didn't give me what I needed, but it's nice, to say that I've accomplished that. But there's still so more. Like I've looked at pictures of David Haye with multiple belts. Do you know what I mean? I looked at AJ multiple. Like there's so much more than just winning a world title that can be done. So I'm just going to go out there and aim for that.
How would you assess the rest of the cruiserweight division? The first name that came out of everybody's mouth after you got out of the ring was the top of the tree, Mairis Briedis. By all accounts, I think he's looking to move up to heavyweight. There's Gulamarian. Why did you make that face?
I think it'll be quite silly to move up, in my opinion, because it's like he's established as the Ring Magazine #1 cruiserweight, and at the time, right now, there's such an uncertain time in the heavyweight division where you've got Fury and AJ with all the belts. They could fight twice. They could maybe not fight next and fight after that, or whatever. So there's like maybe a year or two of like waiting for a world title shot. You've got Usyk who's in line. You've got Dylan. You've got, I don't know who else is. You know what I mean? All of these guys. So it's like, where does he kind of fit in right now? Although there are maybe decent fights he could have at heavyweight, but it's like, are you doing it? I don't know. So for me, I don't understand it. But ultimately, I'm not in his conversations. I don't know what it's like. So. You know what I mean? But personally, I feel he's he's ranked #1 Ring Magazine. He's had the longest sort of run at the top or whatever, so that's interesting. But ultimately, if you ask me about the other champions, I just feel right now is a good time for me to be a cruiserweight. It's not like, there's like a Evander Holyfield or someone like that who's just a legendary fighter. There's some great fighters, you know, but I feel like I've got the beating of all of them with the right game plan, the right training, taking boxing seriously. So we'll see over the next year how it goes.
A few defences of your WBO title, you move up and become mandatory for the WBO heavyweight title.
And you wait in a line for a year or two for whatever's going on now. It doesn't really make sense to me. So I'm just focused on, you know, because I'll be just as happy being like a 2-belt, 3-belt, undisputed champion at cruiserweight as I would being a heavyweight champion, because although the money might be a bit better up there, do you know what I mean? It's still for actual legacy when I look back at my career and say, wow. Because sometimes I stop, like over the last couple of weeks, I stop and say, like I look at my belt and I just say, you actually, like, people don't realise is when you're actually living a life, it's so much different. Like I went for runs when I was 18 thinking, oh, one day it's all going to be in the bank and you'll be a world champion. It's like, wow, I actually did that. And right now, I might not feel it as much as I'm going to feel it, but it's like, when it's all said and done, I'll be able to say, you know what, like I actually won a world title legitimately, and you know I won a British Commonwealth. I didn't just fluke it. I took the steps and got there, and I'm just excited to see. Sorry if I'm rambling on, but what I'm going to go on and do.
One of the other things that we spoke about when we did the podcast was, I think it's fair to say you haven't had the respect that you've deserved for the accomplishments you've had in such a short space of time, both amateur and professional. You said after the Gravatsky fight would be a kind of a telling point. Do you feel like you've had it since then?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's been fair. I feel like I've had some performances that weren't great. Okay, it was early on in my career, and I got, you know, what I deserved at that time for it. And now I've been putting in good performances. I've won a world title. I'm getting the other side. You know, okay, I see what he's doing now. I like it. So for me, as long as I put in good performances and I get the, you know, it just is, as long as it's fair. Like I've put in good performances, okay. I don't put in good performances, okay. You know what I mean? So it's all good. I just hope to put on good shows.
How are you at the weight? You're massive for cruiserweight. You're a big lump. The talk has always been that you will eventually go up to heavyweight. How long do you think you've got yourself down at cruiser?
It's hard to say, really. I don't know how fast I'm growing or whatever. But you know, as I have gotten older, it is obviously I'm walking around heavier and heavier. Do you know what I mean? But it's like I said, when it actually comes to training and getting the weight off, it's actually quite easy. It's actually very. You see in my fights, I never get tired. You never see me in a fight where, the weight must have got him. We've never used that as an excuse, so I make the weight very well. I'm very strong, very fit, all of that stuff. So right now, I feel like moving up to heavyweight will be a choice as opposed to like, oh God, I have to. So I choose to eat what I want now. Do you know what I mean? So.
Would you take a pit stop at Bridgerweight, or would you go straight to heavyweight?
Yeah, maybe. I feel like it depends how the landscape is, because as I said, as Fury and AJ and all them guys are there right now, there's nothing to do except for sit around and say, oh, I'll fight Hergovich or whoever. Do you know what I mean? So maybe, because then it's a world title, and then at least I can say I'm fighting for something as opposed to just waiting around for like a big money fight.
Mentioned kind of your extracurricular activities. You're rapping. You've got a book out. What's next for you? What can we expect to see from Lawrence Okolie outside the ring next?
Hopefully, I can get into a movie. That would be nice. Do you know what I mean? I was offered an audition, but they wanted me to put on an American accent, and I can't do it. So I tried. Don't get me wrong, I tried, but
Give us a go. Come on.
I know I can't do it. I can't. That's why I didn't get the. Do you know what I mean? But so there's that, and then maybe some other business stuff that I'll get into eventually. Well, talking about eventually. Other than that, I'm just it's life, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're just rolling with it. I'm 28 now, so I need to start doing something soon. Do you know what I mean? Because before long I'll be 31, then 35, and then it's like, can I punch as fast and hard and whatever? So we'll see.
Okay, well, Lawrence Okolie, really good to see you looking so well. New world champion at McGuigan's Gym. Congratulations. I will leave the last word to you. I mentioned there, it's been a bit of an up and down, topsy-turvy road so far as a professional. What would you like to say? What final message would you like to leave us now you are world champion?
Just thanks for the support. Obviously, it's been a longish journey. I look to put on some more good performances and just believe in yourself at all times. You know what I mean? Dare to change your life. Go get that book and just see 41 steps to, better yourself.
Do you think it'd work for me?
Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to give you one for free, and then we'll see in a year how it helped your life. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, we're fine. Yeah.
I look forward to it. Lawrence Okolie, always a real pleasure. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Cheers.
That's great. Thank you.